Here on the Creative Thinker podcast, we discuss all theories, philosophy, and thought behind the creative process. And we hope that you find some inspiration along the way. Hello and welcome to the Creative Thinker podcast. My name is Henry Moon and I'll be your host. And to my left is Michael Vasquez, our wonderful co-host that we are very grateful to have along on this process. We started the podcast back in 2019, back when I started my photography company, and it was a way to share what was working in the business and what wasn't, and to talk to other professionals in the field. And over the years and with the input of our wonderful audience members, we've been able to grow into what the Creative Thinker podcast is today, which is a conglomeration of great ideas and great interviews with people who roast coffee to people who photograph some of the great names in rock and roll out on the road. Mm-hmm. We got the full spectrum. Anybody who we enjoy talking to and has a unique and wonderful perspective on life, we're happy to tie that in to the creative process. So, why should you listen? Well, that's a great question, and we'll endeavor to answer that. So first of all, I've written for blogs, magazines, I've written scripts, I've written rough drafts of books, though they are what they are. I acted on stage, I did stand-up for a while, I drew, I painted, I did wood burning, I built furniture, I'm in a band, I made miniatures, I could go on. I live enthusiastically in the artistic process, and I've had a photography company I took from a side hustle all the way to a full-blown business. And I think through all the people I've managed and been lucky enough to meet in that process, it's given me a unique perspective, and I've been able to distill from all those rich conversations that I've had several ideas down about what makes an artist, what makes the creative process so enriching and fun, and how anybody can do it. And that's something I feel very deeply. And that's what I bring to bear in every single podcast. But thankfully, I'm not the only one here. We have a great crowd favorite guest host. Something about Michael is that every time he came on, it was one of the highest listened to podcasts we had and most interacted with. And that's obviously because you're a great personality and a fun person. But I think you can do a better job of introducing yourself than I can. So hi, Michael.
Hi. So let me answer that same question. Why should you listen to us? And what do we bring to the table? So what I bring to the table is a certain creative aspect through Dungeons and Dragons, right? That's something that we've talked about a lot on the podcast before. That's something that I tend to do. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for about 6 years, so I'm still kind of like a baby when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons. But as a player, I've got to experience a lot of different campaigns. And as a dungeon master or game master, I actually created my own homebrew world. So when you're talking about the creative process, I actually created everything in my world. So there's nothing in the world that I took from another book that could help me. I created all my characters. Of course, I got inspiration from other things, but I was able to create all my characters, all my plot hooks, all my topography, everything in the world, the lore. I was able to create that, again, heavily influenced through other aspects of art and media. But for the most part, I was able to create that. And then Henry, actually being one of my first players, really brought me along. And him seeing and asking questions, he understood how much of time I spend on this creative endeavor of Dungeons and Dragons. We've played 80 sessions at this point, and our sessions are anywhere between 6 to 12 hours in our early days. So I've put in hundreds, if not close to thousands of hours now, either playing the game or prepping for the game. And so that's just my Dungeons and Dragons history. I've also been a personal trainer. I've been a head coach for strength conditioning for BKA Fitness, which we've talked about before. I've competed in kickboxing, and I'm an amateur champion in kickboxing. And so using the creative styles in the martial arts, in the workout space, I've trained hundreds of clients through Camp Gladiator and my own personal training. So I've had to continue to create different, unique workouts that tailor to each person. And in that process, I've been able to transition that over into creativity. And hopefully our minds together will help inspire you, the listener, to have a spark of inspiration. We've both shared each other's writings with each other. So that is another thing that we continue to share and want to share with the world, our process. So hopefully it sparks something in you to go out and to create and to innovate.
We're all about pushing ourselves and getting other people to push themselves. And like I said, we both spend our lives pursuing art and pursuing enriching each other and our friends and our family and the listeners to this podcast in any way we can. So the goal is always to teach, to be honest, and to be open-minded and share what we learn and to learn as much as we can from others. But the consequence is, of course, that we try to inspire people.
Yep, absolutely.
And we deeply, deeply, deeply enjoy the creative process. Mm-hmm. So thank you for listening to this trailer. I hope it answers some of your questions about what the Creative Thinker podcast is. Mm-hmm. I hope you tune in for more. And if you feel so inclined, all audience support has gone towards, getting the banner, getting the lights, getting all the microphones, and we just are so thankful for the audience we have. And we thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy the Creative Thinker podcast. My name is Henry.
I'm Michael.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.